Hi, everyone. I think we're ready to get going. Thanks again for taking the time out of your busy day to join us. We're really excited to um, present Datadog and RSAWEB to you. Um, with me, I have Ian Ryan, the partner manager for the EMEA region with Datadog, and Owen Barr, who's a sales engineer at Datadog. I'm Jonathan Marshall, the cloud engineering manager at RSAWEB. RSAWeb has chosen Datadog as its preferred solution in terms of APM, login, and numerous other services that Datadog provide. We did this after extensive research within the market, and I can tell from, or I can actually say from personal experience, actually setting up and configuring and working with the team at Datadog in terms of the support and also as well as the just the ease of being able to set it up and use the product. That we're very happy to actually present this product to our customers and also our future clients as well. The format of this is I'll be handing over shortly to Ian, who will take us through the offering, and feel free to ask questions during the time. I have a number of people with me in the room here. We'll go through those, as well as there'll be a general Q&A at the end of the session. So without further ado, I hand over to Ian.
Great. Thanks very much for the intro, Jonathan. I hope you can hear me okay.
I can hear you loud and clear, so I'm sure it's good for everyone else.
Great. Brilliant. Yeah, listen, thanks very much for the intro. I suppose just to reiterate, my name is Ian. I'm the partner sales manager within Datadog, and with me today I have Owen Barr, who's one of my engineers, who's going to help clarify any technical questions as we go through the presentation. There will be a Q&A towards the end of the presentation as well. So more than happy to pick up these questions as well as we go through the presentation. So I'm going to start off and just talk a little bit about, who is Datadog, where do we come from, what are we trying to achieve? Datadog is the only truly unified SaaS monitoring and security platform, to put it simply. It's designed for DevSec, Ops, and business teams in the cloud age. We help companies understand the true state of their applications, system infrastructure, make business decisions, troubleshoot customer issues, and improve the end user experience. The company was founded in 2010, and we are headquartered in New York City. From the very beginning, Datadog platform was consistently breaking down silos between teams, client side, and server side, to give our customers a holistic view of their environment so that their teams can troubleshoot and fix issues faster from one single source of truth. Our operating principle is simple, but not simplistic. We sought to create a monitoring platform, and Datadog has certainly achieved it. Today, we have over 14,000 customers and over 2,000 employees. An interesting fact is that over half of our employees are actually have a technical background and are operating in a technical aspect within Datadog. So over the last decade, we've seen a fundamental change in enterprise computing. And I'm sure that many of you here today are experiencing some of this in one degree or another. As organizations migrate their infrastructure and applications to the cloud, we have seen an explosion in technology platforms used by your teams. Teams have gone from using a few standardized suites to many diverse SaaS and open source solutions. We've seen an increase in computing units. It's gone from a few centralized servers in a data center to many distributed cloud instances, containers, and microservices, creating a very dynamic environment. We've seen releases become a lot more frequent. We've gone from seeing potentially maybe one release a year to new releases happening on demand now. And we've seen a huge increase in the amount of people and teams involved in managing such environments. All of these factors have collectively led to a paradigm shift, increasing chaos and complexity daily. I'm sure that many of you have experienced that. If you're going through this migration yourselves, depending on where you are in your transformation journey, the competencies that are needed for monitoring are very different. This is true if we consider how modern applications are even built. Modern applications are built with multi-tier, service-oriented architecture. Problems that affect end user can occur at any level in the stack. They need to be caught before issues cascade and become critical. So early intervention is the key. Traditional siloed monitoring, where each team uses their own monitoring tool and users are consistently chasing the red or tracking the yellow, is no longer sufficient. All teams do not have a single source of truth and are often blindsided at critical moments. Context switching and finger pointing are often the end result, leading to even longer mean time to resolution. This impacts every reason which led to the cloud in the first place. It negatively impacts your scalability. It negatively impacts your agility. It increases costs. It affects your cloud migration and platform modernization projects and limits application optimization. These problems are magnified when we consider thousands of instances distributed over the cloud and on-premise. How do your monitoring tools cope with this demand today? Are you jumping from tab to tab, from application to application, just to try and put all of this information together? This tool and agent sprawl can have negative consequences. Firstly, it's expensive, both in terms of costs and computer resource consumption. It's highly inefficient due to agent and data redundancy. Your metrics indicate something is wrong, but lacks details. Your traces can point to the general area, but are not specific. Logs can have huge volumes varying in a value with a cost visibility trade-off. And everything must be manually queried and correlated. All of this results to time. This leads to your teams being reactive. It leads to excessive alerts, constant firefighting, poor quality of professional life for your operations teams. And that doesn't just impact performance, but also your hiring and your growth. And most importantly, you're lacking the business context of what matters to your end users or customers. The other side to this coin is the evaluation of these, all of these new tools that are coming out. It's not very clear in terms of what they do and what they don't do. And all of that takes time to reach a point at the end where you can make an actual evaluation of these tools. The legacy and point solutions are not built for dynamic environments, and we know this. Whereas Datadog is. We are very transparent and all of our documentation is public facing. And this is where Datadog can help. We collect data from all your servers, containers, applications, and cloud-based services with a single agent. The same agent that collects your metrics also collects your traces and your logs. All that data is sent to Datadog's SaaS platform, which enables us to do all levels of monitoring listed in this slide. For example, infrastructure monitoring for your backend servers and cloud-based instances, APM on the application server side, which gives you insights aggregated across all requests, log management for all of your front end and back end that allows you to analyze the details of those issues. We enable synthetics for proactive testing of API endpoints and websites to detect issues before it impacts your customers. We enable real user monitoring for your browsers and mobile devices. and network performance to manage and optimize the traffic flow across the entire stack. With everything enabled in one platform, your teams have a single source of truth with zero context switching. Our machine learning and automated correlations help you get insights and take action using all of this data. From tracking your SLOs to real-time root cause analysis, Datadog has you covered. We are an integrated platform. We have over 450 pre-configured integrations, which we have existing today, which are also fully supported by Datadog. I mentioned this at the very beginning. We are the only truly unified platform that's out there. It's one agent collecting all of this metrics and displaying it on one single pane of glass for all of your teams. We are very cloud agnostic. So we are compatible with AWS infrastructure, Microsoft Azure, GCP, Alibaba, VMware, OpenStack, on-premise, and your private cloud. This slide paints a picture of how complex it can be. The average network now has over 70 different pieces of software to manage. When you've got multiple engineers managing all of these different tools, it gets very, very complex. And Datadog puts all of that together to ease the tension pressed on your teams. We are able to provide any stack, any app, at any scale, anywhere. Our biggest differentiator is that we unify the three pillars of observability: metrics, traces, and logs, in a SaaS monitoring platform with a single agent. Here are other differentiators that are unique to Datadog. We're cloud agnostic. We're built and designed for hybrid architectures and can be deployed everywhere. Some of the cloud native tools that are used today were built in a time where the environments were a lot more static. Now we live in a dynamic age, and being cloud agnostic should be at the forefront of your mind. Our ease of use. I mentioned this earlier. We have over 450 out-of-the-box seamless correlation and no need to learn a complex custom query language like other monitoring tools. So if you need an integration with Slack, MongoDB, simply turn it on and it's available to you. And one thing that I really do like about Datadog, which I believe isn't mentioned here, is that these integrations are fully supported by Datadog. So if you have a problem with the integration, we're not going to go tell you log a ticket with Slack or MongoDB. We're going to help you figure that out and get to the problem and get to the root cause of that and fix that issue directly with you. Logging without limits. I think everybody has experienced or has come across the costs that are associated with logging these days. We allow you to ingest all logs cost effectively and analyze them in real time. And I'll touch on this again on my next slide. We provide superior granularity and retention. We provide 15-second granularity for all metrics with retention for 15 months without any roll-ups. There isn't another vendor who provides that today. We provide actionable alerting with machine learning that helps you reduce alert fatigue. And I've got an example of this where we helped a customer a little later on. So our logging without limits. Logging without limits means that you no longer have to choose which logs to collect and which logs to leave behind. You can cost effectively collect them all. Our ingestion pipeline is built to handle cloud scale volumes, so you can send terabytes of log data every day. And you get to decide which logs are most useful to index. Indexed logs will be available for real-time search, dashboarding, and correlation with the other sources of data. You also get to select your desired retention period. So if you're striving towards certain compliance, or maybe your team are short-staffed and you need to retain those logs for a little bit more. You can choose between 7 days, 15 days, 30 days, and even more. Where are we recognized in Forrester? Oh, sorry, Gartner. We are a leader in the Gartner report. We are also recognized as a leader in the Forrester Wave report. Here I have a couple of examples of where we were able to help some customers who have had different challenges in the past. This is an e-commerce home goods retailer, and their own words, when driving $12.9 million in revenue a day, maintaining uptime is crucial to the success of our company. Datadog has allowed us visibility in ensuring optimal performance, especially during peak shopping times. Why do anything? Their legacy solution was not performing up to par and was sending the company false alerts, failing right before Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I can imagine how costly that was. The company did not have high resolution data to trigger alerts at the right times. They were unable to investigate issues or plan capacity. How did Datadog help this customer? The company now has a 65 times better data resolution, equipping them to better detect and resolve real-time and long-term issues. The company can make accurate capacity planning with access to historical data and machine learning-based algorithms. Another e-commerce customer that we had, from their own words, Datadog allows us to free up engineering time to provide trustworthy alerts, resulting in less stress and more time for productive tasks. Why do anything in this case? Why even look for a sophisticated monitoring solution? So this company was leveraging an open source tool and had a full-time employee managing the tools. With their current setup, the team was receiving an unmanageable 10,000 alerts per day for one person. How did Datadog help? Datadog's tagging and monitoring, especially the machine learning features such as anomaly and outlier detection, helped to reduce the volume of alerts from 10,000 to 20 per day. That full-time employee no longer has to maintain the open source solution and can reallocate time to revenue generating activities. Also, the Datadog platform is fully supported. An open source tool usually isn't. We also have an example from a 500 telecom company. And really what I'm trying to get across here is that whether you're a small company or a large Fortune 500 telecom company, Datadog can help you. This example is from a US-based video streaming service, which I found was personally very interesting. At a peak of 150 million logs per minute, sometimes our logs get away from us, and we want to be able to detect those anomalies when our logs do get away from us. Without log metrics, doing and finding those anomalies was pretty tricky, as you can imagine. Why do anything? The company was in a fragmented and siloed state due to using disparate monitoring platforms. They were a recent infrastructure customer and were actively seeking a log management platform. When preparing to live stream a large event, the company needed to coincide the customer experience would not be affected should an unexpected outage arise. How did Datadog help this customer? Datadog won because of its ubiquity and the ability to adopt and harness by users across the dev and ops. The addition of our log management tool replaced a legacy vendor and allowed this company to gain deep insights into its user behavior by identifying a single user that was attempting to harm the experience for other users. And here are some other logos that you might recognize. Lego System, Ubisoft, Deloitte, Lufthansa Systems, Pirelli, Shell, of course, Bose. All of these customers had a particular use case. You can see that many of them, may not have anything in common other than they were experiencing a lot of silos. But regardless of their industry, regardless of their size, Datadog was able to help them improve the performance of their teams, reduce their MTTR or MTTD, mean time to detection or mean time to resolution. And that's something that we are very proud of. So I'd like to open up to for any questions at this point. I can see that there was some questions coming in around. There's one question here around security. But first, I'd like to pass it over to Owen, just to mention a few words from the technical aspect, maybe just to give that technical overview.
Yeah. Hey, Ian, thanks for that. Yeah, so guys, I'm one of the engineers here at Datadog. I'm kind of here to take any questions that you have available for us today. I know there has been a couple of questions sent in, and there's a couple of questions in the chat. So while I'm answering these questions, if you've got any more, feel free to just jump in and interrupt, or you can just put your questions in the chat and we'll get to them as it comes through. So the first question we have is from Philip. Yeah, so Philip, yeah, Datadog can completely integrate with IoT. From our side, we've got a lightweight Datadog agent, but we've also got the Datadog IoT agent. So that's an agent optimized for monitoring IoT devices and embedded applications. It means that you can run the IoT agent on a variety of different devices, from digital displays to security devices running image detecting algorithms, and start getting that information sent back to your Datadog platform. So it means that you can start to see all that information come through to one single source alongside all your other standard applications and logging tools, just giving you that best of both picture when using Datadog. Next question here is, how resource intensive is Datadog? Yeah, again, as I mentioned, both the IoT agent and the regular Datadog agent are lightweight pieces of software. On the average basis for the agent itself, we kind of say that all this information is publicly available in our documentation, and we'll send some links on after. But the average kind of CPU consumption is 0.1% of CPU on average. You talk about 60 megabytes of RAM being used, and then depending on whether you're using Linux or Windows, the Linux agent can be about 350 megs in storage size, and on Windows about 260 megabytes. So it's all overall a lightweight piece of software. It's not that intense in resources, and it just gives you that little bit extra that you can deploy the Datadog agent to your hosts and containers and not have to worry about that overhead. The next question is from Cobus. Yeah. So Datadog, So Datadog, in the kind of package that Datadog has, we've got front-end specific monitoring as well. So that's called real user monitoring, or RUM as it's known as in Datadog. And RUM can give you that interactions between your users and your web browser applications, your Android or iOS applications. And what you can do is you can bring that information into your Datadog, and what it gives you is just giving you that little bit extra from that visibility. So instead of just seeing the back-end coverage, you can actually combine our front-end services like RUM and synthetics and actually start to see, okay, we can connect this to APM or infrastructure on the back end. So you can see when a customer makes a call on an iOS or Android client, we can actually start to see what happens on the back end as well. So we can see when a customer clicks on a button on our application, we actually tie that straight through to the back end systems. So you can see, okay, by the customer clicking this button, it actually made a call to our MongoDB, to our Redis systems, to different web servers that we may be running in the backend. And just by giving you that overall visibility, it'll help you build out your kind of front end monitoring and just optimize that user experience. Yeah, we handle Datadog. So Datadog, again, what we can do here is with the Datadog agent, look, we understand that there will be areas of sensitive information where you're actually going to see stuff that you're going, oh, do you know what? We don't want to send this particular log data to Datadog, and that's fine. What we can offer there and offer in most places in the product is data obfuscation. With data obfuscation, you can tell us what you don't want to send to the platform. If there's something specific like a user ID or a customer email, that's fine. Let us know. And what we do is on the agent level, we obfuscate that at baseline. So it means that straight away, that isn't actually even hitting our systems before it comes through. So say if it's an email like mine, for example, so owen.bar@datadog.com, what we can actually start to see is that automatically be obfuscated. Instead of seeing my email address, what you'll see is just email filtered, email obfuscated, just keeping that IP and data protection, just all that kind of tied together. Again, we're kind of linked in with GDPR and different frameworks, so they're all publicly available on our security sites. So you can start to see. Next question here is, Sean, looks like you've got a question here around actually using Datadog itself. So the processes in the Windows Server itself is not showing up. Okay, what we can do there, Sean, I suggest is just reach out to our support team, open up a ticket for us. And what you could do is once we open up the ticket, we can actually just help you out with that, make sure that there's actually someone there able to look at it, and we can kind of make sure that configuration is coming through so you can start seeing all your processes come up. Yeah, so a couple of other questions have come through here. So you can start to see from our side on security, we're getting some questions around how can we kind of tie in security until what Ian has already showed you. So from our side, we're bringing in security coverage as well, just to let you understand that you could cover full front to back end monitoring, but on top of that, we give you security. We break out security into 3 distinct pillars at the moment. We've got security monitoring based on logs, we have cloud posture management, as well as having workload security. So I'll just explain briefly what the 3 mean. And security monitoring is all based on that kind of log configuration. So we understand at Datadog that in the modern applications, you could be using a multitude of different sources for logs, whether that could be MySQL, application logs, AWS, Azure, GCP logs. What you want to do there is you want to actually understand as these logs come into the system, and as Ian correctly pointed out, we do that with logging without limits. Because we separate ingestion from indexation, when the logs actually come into our system through the ingestion, we can create security signals. So it means that any one of you could set up Datadog to get these out of the box security rules based on them logs coming through. So if somebody makes a change to one of your IAM accounts with GCP, if someone's making actual authentication events with your Cisco firewalls, your applications, we can track that straight away and inform you this is happening through a security signal. It lets you understand exactly what you need to know, what we can do, and how that actually helps you. So not only can we actually see when the logs come through, but we'll actually give you that straight to whatever like collaboration tool you're using, whether that be Slack, Teams, PagerDuty, Optimise. We can tie in the alerts to all of them. So it means that you can hit the right people with actionable specific events at the correct time, making it that little bit easier to monitor your platform using security monitoring at Datadog. On the other hand, we've got workload security, which is per host based. So it's all about understanding, okay, we've got maybe some containers or some hosts that we want to actually monitor and make sure that the configurations are correct. Making sure that we don't have any attacks coming in where somebody's running a web app shell or spawn or kind of spawning a shell script. We can cover that as well with workload security. But not only that is because you're using Datadog, we actually tie up great to the rest of the platform. When that attack comes through, what we can actually do is show you, here you go, we've seen it from this host on this particular IP range with this particular user, and you can correlate that through the rest of the platform. That's the whole goal of Datadog, is giving you that correlation between front to back end. We're tying in security there. And because it's going through that central system of monitoring and alerting, we can actually just push that through to whatever tool you're using. So making sure that all your engineers and business users are informed straight away in real time as decisions come through. So if there are any other kind of questions.
I can just jump in here quickly. And there was just 2 other questions that just came in, so maybe we can quickly just cover these off between us. So the first one here is, can Datadog be used to report on specific user interactions for a website or hybrid mobile app?
Yeah, so again, that's just through the real user monitoring. So when your customer interactions are going through a website or that, we can inject our SDK into the header of your pages. So what we can actually do then is, Ian, use you for an example. If Ian comes into Datadog and starts using them, maybe he does a checkout and shopping system, we can actually track that. So we can see that Ian at the 13th of October has actually clicked the checkout request on this at 11:35. And once Ian's done that, we can actually tie that to the back end, like I mentioned before. So you're able to see all them custom actions that Ian took on that shopping app, and we can track it through that.
Brilliant. And just this final question, and it sounds like this has come from somebody who has, I suppose, used Datadog or is currently using Datadog. I found the analysis of processes on a Windows server not showing up, even with it being enabled in the main Datadog file, YAML file. The process info is still not showing up on my dashboard. What could be the problem?
Yeah, so sometimes the problem there is just maybe the agent's not connecting straight through to us. So it could be anything from a TCP connection to even just a misconfiguration of the YAML file. What I suggest there is you reach out to myself or one of the support team after this call. We can link in and make sure that someone gets that action, and we can go and review that YAML file alongside you with the Datadog support team so we can get that issue resolved.
Amazing. Owen, thanks very much for painting that picture for the attendees here. That's kind of it from us at the Datadog side. I'd like to just say that RSAWEB is really your first point of contact. They're fully equipped to have consultations. They're fully equipped to provide a fully managed service as well. If you feel like you don't have the staff or the team or the time to get to all of this, RSAWEB are fully certified. They're fully trained, and they've got the entire infrastructure ready to go to support you with whatever your needs are. So RSAWEB would really be your first point of contact for all things Datadog going forward. I know that they do consultations on a regular basis. They've got access to trials, which they can, help spin up for you and provide that support through your evaluation period. And as I said, provide a fully managed service going forward as well. So with that, I believe that's everything really from the Datadog side. I'd like to thank RSAWEB for having myself and Owen here today and giving us the opportunity to talk a little bit about our product. So with that, I'll pass back over to Jonathan.
Thanks, Ian. Appreciate that. And thanks, Owen, as well. Appreciate your time. I suppose I'll just share something that we've used Datadog, and I think having had a lot of experience within development and systems for a long time, I think one of the things that has become even more important is because the systems are so much more complex, it's important to have that deep visibility into the system. But even when a system is seemingly not so complex, there's actually hidden performance items that you're not going to have visibility in unless you can actually see how that code is actually executing. So recently we had an issue where one particular request seemed to be taking a lot longer than normal. All other requests seemed to be fine, but this one particular request to a website seemed to take much longer and then eventually fail. It was only through integration with Datadog and then looking at what was happening. And what we found was there was deep inside of the code was a request to a remote website being made, and it was actually it turned out that the request was failing. It was taking up to a minute to actually fail before timing out, creating a performance bottleneck. But the actual root cause was actually not within the code or the anything under our control. The actual root cause was actually a DNS issue that we actually needed to address with an upstream provider. So I think that was just a great testament to how we've been able to observe and find things that are failing, which we otherwise wouldn't really have been able to find without a tool like Datadog. So yeah, unless there's any other further questions, I'd like to again just thank Ian and Owen for their time and encourage you to reach out to your account manager if you're already an existing client with RSAWEB, or simply drop us an email at sales@rsaweb.net or call us on 087 470 0000. Thank you.